Cruising remains one of the most popular ways to vacation, but many travelers have noticed meaningful changes in the overall experience. Some of these changes are subtle, others are more noticeable, and together they create a fair question. Does cruising still offer the same value it once did? And is it still the most affordable way to take a family vacation? Cruise lines often point to higher operating costs. Food, fuel, and labor have all become more expensive, but at the same time, demand for cruising has never been stronger. Ships sail full, onboard spending keeps rising, and industry revenue remains high. So why do so many passengers feel the experience has shifted? One of the clearest areas to see this change is dining. Cruise dining used to be simple. The main dining room and buffet provided a wide variety of meals, and nearly all of the best food on the ship was included. Today, cruise lines continue adding more and more specialty restaurants, most of them paid, while complimentary options remain limited. There is also a growing quality gap between what's included and what costs extra. On many ships, the most flavorful and well-prepared meals are found in the specialty venues. Complimentary dining still exists, but it often feels more basic than it used to. The trend is clear. If you want the best food on board, you're increasingly expected to pay extra for it. Carnival Cruise Line even implemented a fee for ordering a third entree in the main dining room, something that was always included in the past. This signals exactly where dining is heading. More limitations in included dining and more emphasis on pushing passengers toward paid options. Drink packages show a similar shift. A typical drink package for 2 adults on a 7-night cruise can cost around $900, and it is extremely difficult to break even on that, especially when at least 3 days of the cruise are spent off the ship. You can't use the package while exploring ports. Some cruise lines add even more restrictions. Carnival's drink package does not work on their private island, meaning guests pay full price for drinks there even after purchasing an unlimited package. Carnival also increased the mandatory wait time between drinks from 5 minutes to 10 minutes immediately after raising the package's price. Guests are paying more with more limitations and receiving less. For many people, buying drinks individually is far more cost-effective. Entertainment has changed as well. Some cruise lines continue to invest in large productions, but others have reduced cast sizes, replaced live musicians with pre-recorded tracks, or decreased the frequency of activities. Staffing levels in entertainment departments have dropped, and guests can feel it. Before we move on, quick reminder to like the video and hit subscribe if you enjoy cruising content. There's always something new to cover. Service has shifted too. The crew still works incredibly hard and delivers outstanding service, but staffing levels are not what they used to be. Bar staff cover more guests. Dining room teams cover more tables. Guest services lines are longer. The dedication of the crew hasn't changed, but the workloads have. Small details also reveal how cruising has evolved. One example is stateroom service. For me personally, the twice-a-day service was one of the touches that made cruising feel special. I remember leaving for dinner or going to the pool and coming back to a room that was refreshed, tidy, and reset for the evening. It gave the experience a sense of care and comfort. Losing that second service takes away a bit of the charm that made cruising feel elevated. Carnival removing white tablecloths from the main dining room is another example. It may sound small, but tablecloths created a sense of elegance and occasion. Removing them saves the cruise line a little money, but the dining room instantly feels more casual. Cabins on many new ships are also smaller than they used to be. On newer ships like the Carnival Jubilee, even the bathrooms can feel too cramped for a single person to comfortably get dressed in. For families traveling together, this becomes a real challenge. Rooms are shrinking so cruise lines can fit more cabins per deck, but guests feel the trade-off in comfort. Gratuities add another layer of confusion. Daily gratuities have increased across the industry, but passengers often don't know how much of that money goes directly to the crew. Some crew members say gratuities help significantly. Others say the system is more complex. Passengers aren't unwilling to tip. They simply want clarity about where their money goes. Crowding is another noticeable trend. Older ships have been refitted with more cabins, and new ships are designed to carry more passengers without significantly expanding public spaces. As a result, dining rooms fill faster, theaters run out of seats, pool decks get crowded early, and more activities require reservations well before sailing. Cruising has become more structured and less spontaneous. Cruise line private destinations have also become more common. These islands and resorts are often beautiful, but they keep guests spending money within the cruise line's ecosystem. Drinks, excursions, cabanas, and activities all funnel revenue back to the cruise line rather than supporting local businesses. They're fun, but they're not the same as experiencing real towns, cultures, and communities. Shore excursions have also risen sharply in price. Cruise lines strongly encourage booking through them, sometimes implying that local or independent options aren't safe or available. In reality, many ports offer reliable, affordable local transportation and excellent independent tour companies that charge far less. With all of these changes, the obvious question is whether cruising still offers strong value. And the answer is absolutely yes, if you cruise smart. Cruising remains one of the best and most affordable vacation options in the world, especially for families. You can still find 7-night cruises for around $2,000 to $3,000 total for a family of 4. That's your accommodations, transportation, meals, entertainment, and access to multiple destinations all included, often for less than the cost of a single week at a land-based resort. The key is being strategic. Traveling during off-peak or shoulder seasons can save hundreds. Booking early can sometimes lock in the lowest price. Other times, the best deals appear closer to the sail date. The smartest approach is to book early when a good rate appears, then monitor prices. If your cruise line allows free price adjustments before final payment, call and request the lower price. Some travelers cancel and rebook when it makes financial sense. Don't pay your final balance early. Waiting until the last day gives you more time to catch price drops. Be selective with onboard packages, drink packages, Wi-Fi bundles, and dining add-ons are major profit centers for cruise lines. Do the math before buying anything. Often, paying as you go is far cheaper. Research the ship carefully. Some ships have far more included dining venues, better entertainment, or more complimentary activities. Picking the right ship prevents you from feeling nickel and dimed on board. Compare what's included across cruise lines. Some lines look cheaper up front, but charge for everything on board. Others cost more up front, but include Wi-Fi, gratuities, specialty dining, or even an included excursion in every port. Always look at the total vacation cost, not just the base fare. Plan port days smartly. Cruise line excursions are convenient, but independent tours or simple DIY exploring can save hundreds of dollars and often provide better experiences. Just be sure to manage your time and return to the ship early. Bring what you can on board. Many lines allow water, soda, or a bottle of wine. This alone can save a surprising amount of money over the course of a week. Avoid impulse purchases, onboard sales, limited time offers, drink of the day specials, spa discounts, and retail promotions are designed to boost onboard spending. Most of these aren't real savings. Choose your cabin intentionally. If the cruise is port intensive, an inside cabin may offer the best value. On scenic or relaxation focused itineraries, a balcony may be worth the upgrade. And finally, support the cruise lines that still deliver strong value. Some lines cut less, include more, and continue focusing on guest experience. Spending your money with companies that treat customers well sends a message. Even with all the changes happening in the industry, cruising still offers an experience that no land vacation can match. The ability to visit multiple destinations, unpack once, enjoy endless entertainment, and take advantage of an all-in-one vacation package makes cruising one of the best values in travel. Cruising continues to evolve, but the core experience remains one of the most enjoyable, affordable, and memorable vacation options available. And even with everything that's changed, one thing is still true. There is nothing quite like a cruise. Before you go, don't forget to like this video. It tells YouTube this is content worth sharing. And if you love cruising as much as I do, make sure to subscribe. We've got a lot more cruise guides, reviews, and money-saving tips coming your way. And let me know in the comments, what changes have you noticed on your recent cruises? Have you found ways to save money and still get great value? Drop your experience below and let's compare notes. And until next time, grab a drink and let's get waist deep here at the Blue Water Club.